the U.S. illegally as children a path to citizenship by completing 2 years of either college or military service. The bill has been around for years, but will come up again in September. It faces the same resistance from opponents of immigration reform, who call it educational amnesty.
Just because somebody may be smart doesn't mean they should be exempt from the law. Just because somebody is liked a lot doesn't mean that the laws should be broken or ignored.
It was our parents that made the choices for us. Why should we be punished for their mistakes?
Juan and Alex Gomez were given a reprieve from deportation until mid-September. If the DREAM Act doesn't pass by then, they'll have to adjust to a new home in a country that for them couldn't be more foreign. Kelly Kobiella, CBS News, Miami.
We thank you for joining us this half hour. This is CBS News, up to the minute.
CBS News. Experience you can trust.
Remembering the victims of the Minneapolis bridge collapse as the excruciating search for the missing goes on. Wildfire threat. A Montana wildfire doubles in size and threatens hundreds of homes. And welcome to the club. Tom Glavine becomes a 300-game winning pitcher, the 23rd in baseball. This is the CBS Morning News for Monday, August 6th. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Susan McInnes. Falling debris is hampering recovery efforts at the site of the Minneapolis bridge collapse. The official death toll remains at 5, with at least 8 people still missing. On Sunday, the city stopped to remember the victims. Terry Okita is in Minneapolis with the details. Terry, good morning. Good morning, Susan. Local rescuers and investigators have done all they can do safely. So today, Phase 2 will begin. They will start removing cars and debris from the collapse site, and dive teams from the Navy and the FBI are coming in to help search for victims.
4.5 days after the collapse, the bridge remains a disaster frozen in time. A tangled mess of concrete and metal, some vehicles saved by debris, others destroyed by it. Divers have felt their way through the murky waters around the bridge. As many as 8 people remain missing, but none has been found in 4 days.
Our local resources are exhausted in terms of our diving operations.
Authorities will bring in cranes and barges today and start removing cars and other heavy debris by the end of the week, carefully removing the bridge that lies shattered in the river it once spanned.
We will take pieces out very methodically and placing them on a barge so that we can examine each one of those pieces.
In the midst of all the searching and investigating, Minnesotans took time out to pause and reflect Sunday night at an interfaith service. Hundreds came out to remember the dead, pray for the survivors, and honor the rescuers.
We're here tonight to prayerfully remember, to restore, and to rebuild.
They came from all faiths and backgrounds to bow their heads and pay tribute.
Just to hug each other and say, pray for them. It's very, very touching. It's a very sad situation.
This interfaith service drew nearly 1,500 people, offering prayers of peace for the grieving, prayers of strength for those still searching, and prayers of gratitude from those that were spared.
It's important that we stand together tonight and say, Minnesota, your heart is full of courage and compassion.
The heroes, the Reverend said, like the tears, are many.
The NTSB chairman told me this is a catastrophic accident and one of the biggest they've ever had to investigate. It could take 18 months to pinpoint a cause. Live from Minneapolis, I'm Terry Okita. Susan, back to you. Terry, you've been looking into the different resources that searchers have been using. Tell us about those. It's been pretty amazing what they've been able to have at their fingertips. Basically, they've been using a lot of high-tech equipment. They're going to use computer modeling programs to go over the exact how the bridge actually collapsed. They've used sonar equipment for the divers. High-tech cameras on top of helicopters are taking pictures of parts of the bridge, and they've also had laser-guided mapping devices that they've used. So a lot of tools at their fingertips, but again, they stress it's going to take months and months to pinpoint a cause. Right. All right, Terry Okita in Minneapolis, thank you. The governor of Montana has declared a state of emergency because of dangerous wildfires. One of the fires northeast of Missoula has doubled in size since Saturday and is now threatening more than 200 homes. The governor says it's time to get out.
The fire's on its way. It's blowing 25 miles an hour. It's coming directly to you. This is in the hands of God now. You need to protect yourself, your pets, open the gates, let the livestock loose, and say a prayer.
There are several large fires burning in Montana. At least one home has been destroyed. Gunfire broke out this morning on the tense border dividing North and South Korea. North Korean soldiers apparently fired first, shooting at a guard post on the eastern end of the demilitarized zone. South Korean guards returned fire. There are no reports of casualties. Well, the so-called American Al-Qaeda has issued another threat. In a video that appeared on Sunday, Adam Gadon warns that diplomats and foreign embassies throughout the Middle East will be targeted. Gadon was charged with treason last fall. The FBI has offered a $1 million reward for his capture. The Afghan military says it killed 13 Taliban militants who attacked a checkpoint on Sunday. The Taliban and other security issues will top the agenda today at Camp David, where President Bush and Afghan President Hamid Karzai begin their second day of talks. Joey Chen reports.
Their 6-year relationship remains solid, but the leaders head into the overnight summit facing a raft of thorny issues. Most pressing, a new explosion of violence in Afghanistan, where a resurgent Taliban has stepped up suicide bombings and roadside strikes to a level not seen since 2001.
The security situation in Afghanistan over the past 2 years has definitely deteriorated.
At his last summit with Mr. Bush and Pakistani President Pervez Musharraf, Karzai worried his neighbor was turning a blind eye to a growing al-Qaeda safe haven along the Afghan-Pakistani border. U.S. intelligence recently confirmed Karzai's fears, leading the White House to refocus on Afghanistan.
There's a lot to talk about in terms of the training of Afghan security forces in order to assist in the war on terror and against the Taliban. There's reconstruction to talk about.
Karzai badly needs more money and military help from the U.S., both to hold off the Taliban and to keep his nation's impoverished farmers from growing more opium poppies. President Bush wants Karzai to succeed at stopping both.
The key question is the United States committed over the long run to seeing this one out? And commitment includes both the number of military forces, it includes economic assistance.
The president will underscore U.S. efforts to help its troubled ally, but doubts remain about how much Mr. Bush can do with so much money and manpower still consumed by the war raging in Iraq. Joey Chen, CBS News, the White House.
In Iraq, the U.S. military is missing some weapons, lots of them. The Pentagon cannot account for 190,000 AK-47 rifles and pistols that were given to Iraqi security forces. The Defense Department also can't find 135,000 pieces of body armor and 115,000 helmets. One official says some of the weapons are probably being used against U.S. troops. This morning in Iraq, a suicide bomber killed at least 28 people in the northern city of Tal Afar. But the top American commander in Iraq says he is seeing signs of progress. Alan Pizzi reports.
With barely 6 weeks to go before his report on how well or not things are going in Iraq, General David Petraeus went out to show off a success story.
Assalamu alaikum.
Haifa Street is an example of how the general's counterinsurgency plan is supposed to work. It used to be another way of saying utter chaos. In January this year, it was the scene of the bitterest and bloodiest street fighting that Baghdad has experienced.
Hey.
These days, it's a good place not just for Iraqis, but for the general to practice street politics and PR.
America is very good.
America's good? Can you say that for the camera here?
The There have been no significant security incidents here since the end of April, and credit for the change is put down in part to involving local leaders rather than lavishing money around. The big money projects to rebuild Iraq have so far proved less than impressive. It's the small ones that seem to do the best, street by street, block by block, a long, slow process. But the peaceful veneer of Haifa Street is misleading. The insurgents merely retreated across the Tigris River to infest another neighborhood the U.S. military must clear and rebuild. The hope is that the example of Haifa Street will accelerate the process.
What's good about this area is you can see what happens once a security is established.
Residents moving back to apartments abandoned during the fighting agree.
As Americans stay here, there is safety here.
That's pretty much the line the general must sell to the politicians back home, which might be why he's warming up his campaigning skills here.
Chai Fado. Who's got the money today?
Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Baghdad.
Shukran, Sadiq.
Just ahead on the morning news, Wall Street begins a new week following Friday's massive sell-off. Plus, Matt Damon sets a new record this weekend at the box office. First, Katie Couric has a preview of tonight's CBS Evening News.
Scientists at the Centers for Disease Control are experts at tracking disease, but they've lost millions of dollars in equipment and property, and you're paying the price. We'll have an exclusive investigation tonight on the CBS Evening News.
We all have internal plumbing, but for some of us, it can be a problem. You know, frequent, sudden bladder urges. You worry your pipes might leak, so it's hard to always do things spur of the moment. If you've had enough, talk to your doctor about taking care with Vesicare. Vesicare once a day can reduce urges and may help effectively manage bladder leakage day and night. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are blurred vision, dry mouth, constipation, and indigestion. Fewer urges, the chance to be more spontaneous. It doesn't have to be a pipe dream. Ask your doctor today about taking care with Vesicare.
The ultimate eyeglass sale at Sears Optical. Save 50% on any pair of eyeglasses. Buy additional pairs and save even more. The ultimate eyeglass sale, only at Sears Optical. Sears, where it begins.
Wake up to the #1 at-home eye lift alternative in America. Avon, a new clinical eye lift. Our improved eye treatment targets lids, bags, even the brow bone. 82% of women saw more wide-awake eye area. Call your Avon representative for a brochure and say hello tomorrow.
I lead a very active life. I have a small farm. I don't have time to have anything slow me down. Being irregular and bloated has to be the worst feeling in the world. A friend of mine introduced me to Activia, and it's worked ever since. Never would have guessed that yoga could do something like this.
Dannon Activia with the natural culture Bifidus regularis is clinically proven to help regulate your digestive system in 2 weeks.
Oh, I think the taste is fabulous.
Help naturally regulate your digestive system.
There's a new man in the driver's seat at Chrysler. Bob Nardelli has been hired as the new chief executive of the #3 U.S. automaker. Nardelli was the top executive at Home Depot. He resigned from there in January in a dispute over his pay package. On the CBS Money Watch, a new week on Wall Street begins, but investors still have a black eye after Friday's massive decline. More from Alexis Christoforous.
Will it be the bulls or the bears in control on Wall Street this week? Investors will be bracing for another wild ride after a last-minute sell-off Friday wiped out 2 days of gains, putting the blue chips even further from the 14,000 milestone. The Dow plummeted 281 points, while the Nasdaq sank 64. Ben Bernanke and the Federal Reserve will be center stage on Wall Street this week as they meet to decide on interest rates. Analysts expect the central bank to leave rates unchanged for the 9th straight policy meeting at 5.25%. Investors will also be watching for reports on consumer credit for June and second quarter productivity. Meanwhile, Sprint, Nextel, Vonage, and a handful of smaller phone carriers are expected to help lift the telecommunications sector when they issue their quarterly earnings results results later this week. And if you plan on hitting the road before the summer is out, you may find some better news at the gas pump. AAA says the national average for regular unleaded has fallen to $2.86 a gallon. That's down 9 cents from a month ago and 14 cents less than we were paying this time last year. Prices are easing as refineries finally begin pumping enough oil to keep up with demand. And that's your Money Watch. In New York, I'm Alexis Christoforous.
The Bourne Ultimatum blew away the box office competition and in the process broke a record. The third installment of the spy thriller scored the biggest August box office opening take ever. Matt Damon movie raked in more than $70 million. Last week's number one, The Simpsons movie, was a distant second. The live-action version of Underdog debuted in third place. Straight ahead, your Monday morning weather. And in sports, a Mets left-hander joins one of baseball's most exclusive clubs.
Married 42 years and never a day apart. When Bill was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, each day became more precious. We talked to his doctor and found out about prescription Aricept.
It's thought that Aricept may reduce the breakdown of a vital chemical in the brain. Aricept is the only treatment approved for all stages of Alzheimer's disease, mild, moderate, and severe.
Studies showed Aricept helps with memory and performing everyday tasks. Aricept is well tolerated, but not for everyone. People at risk for stomach ulcers or who take certain other medicines should tell their doctors, because serious stomach problems such as bleeding may get worse. Some people may experience fainting. Some people may have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, bruising, or not sleep well. Some people may have muscle cramps or loss of appetite, or may feel tired. In studies, these were usually mild and temporary. Don't wait. Ask your doctor about Alzheimer's treatments, including Aricept. If it helps Bill be more like himself longer, that means so much.
It's an extraordinary thing. We come from different places, have different dreams and different heroes. But when that lunch bell finally rings, we all love a good PB&J. More folks make them with rich peanutty Jif than with any other peanut butter. And more people bring home Smucker's jams and jellies than any other brand. Jif and Smucker's. It's the great American PB&J.
Here's a look at the weather in some cities around the country. In New York, scattered storms today, 83 degrees. Miami, sunny and 96. In Chicago, thunderstorms and 84. Denver, late day thunder and 90. LA, sunny and 81. Time now to check on your national forecast. This morning's satellite picture shows the Rockies and the Plains are looking at cloudy skies, with another line of clouds stretching from the Great Lakes to the northeast. Later today, the Ohio Valley to the Gulf Coast will sizzle in 95 to 100 degree heat. The northeast and the Great Lakes can expect a few thunderstorms. The Plains and the Rockies should also hear some late day rumbles. In baseball, Tom Glavine became the 23rd pitcher in Major League history to earn 300 wins. He helped his own cause with an RBI single in the second inning to give the Mets the lead over the Cubs. His one strikeout came against Cliff Floyd in the sixth. He left in the seventh with the Mets up 5-1. And reliever Billy Wagner ensured Glavine's entry into the 300-win club 8-3.
Now that it's over, there's that sense of relief. There's a sense of accomplishment. And I think for the most part, the emotion I have is relief.
Glavine's only the fifth lefty to win 300 games. Beware of Moose. The Red Sox Coco Crisp was blindsided by Seattle's Mariner Moose mascot driving an ATV. Crisp wasn't hurt. Boston ended up winning 9-2. Tiger Woods ran over the field in Akron. He took the lead with a birdie putt on the fourth hole, and he birdied 12 with a great chip in. A long putt on 18 wrapped up a bogey-free day as Woods won his sixth Bridgestone Invitational by 8 strokes. Kurt Busch ended a 51-race winless streak on Sunday. There was a 5-car crash with 19 laps remaining at the Pennsylvania 500, but Busch took the checkered flag after leading for a record 175 laps as he jumped to 12th place in the Nextel Cup standings. And the pigskin is flying once again. Ben Roethlisberger looked strong, completing a 55-yard pass to Cedric Wilson. The Steelers beat the Saints in the preseason Hall of Fame game 20-7. When we come back, another look at this morning's top stories. And more than 2 decades after the Challenger disaster, NASA is sending another teacher into space.
After I brush my teeth, I feel like I just left the dentist's office.
I was surprised.
It's true. You can actually feel Crest Pro Health's active clean crystals cleaning.
I feel like I had just come from the dentist.
Crest Pro Health.
Aussie's new SunTouch Shine Spray infuses dry, lackluster hair with moisture for stunning shine. So you'll always get points for style. Add some roux to your do.
I sleep in my husband's boxers. I basically live out of a suitcase. Because I'm so frequently on the road, I really need that, 1 or 2 or 6 cups in the morning. Drinking coffee and jogging are 2 sort of constants in my life because I never know what my world is going to be like an hour after.
Folgers Gourmet Selections. Get a sample at wakeupspecial.com.
It's 3 a.m. and you lay there, awake, again. You fell asleep but you woke up too early and now you'd like to go back to sleep, yet you can't. Again. If this sounds like you and you're at least 18, you may qualify to participate in a medication research study being conducted by Siegel Institute. Qualified participants may be provided study-related care, exams, and investigational medication, plus compensation for their time and effort. So if you're tired, please call 1-888-SIEGEL-81, 1-888-SIEGEL-81.
On the CBS Morning News, here's a look at today's weather. Sizzling heat will roast the Ohio Valley and the Deep South, and it'll remain hot, at least for the next few days. The Great Lakes and the Northeast will hear thunder, as will the Plains and the Rockies. Here's another look at this morning's top stories. The victims of the Minneapolis bridge collapse were remembered at a memorial service on Sunday. Investigators say it could take up to 1.5 years to figure out why the bridge gave way. And a state of emergency has been declared in Montana. One of the large wildfires burning there is threatening 200 homes. Evacuations have been ordered. NASA is counting down to a launch Wednesday night of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. A final test was performed on the crew cabin to make sure it was airtight. Last week, a leaky valve in the cabin was replaced. 21 years after the Challenger disaster, NASA is sending a former teacher into space. Kelly Kobiea reports.
For an entire generation, this is the image that defined the space shuttle program. The Challenger falling apart in the skies over Florida, killing 6 astronauts and a teacher, Krista McCullough.
This mission is symbolic.
On Wednesday, NASA will get a long-awaited shot at redemption, with the shuttle Endeavour set to lift off carrying McCullough's backup, 55-year-old Barbara Morgan, a teacher turned astronaut from Idaho.
People will be thinking about not just Krista, but the Challenger crew and the Challenger mission, and that's a good thing.
NASA could use a good thing. Its straight-laced image tied in knots with a former astronaut about to stand trial for attempted kidnapping, and a report last month suggesting current astronauts may be abusing alcohol on the job. Not really what you'd call the right stuff.
NASA is one of those agencies where the failures stand out very clearly. Human lives are on the line, quite a bit of money, and some of the best engineering this country has to offer.
And recent successes go almost unnoticed, helping to build an engineering marvel in space and exploring every planet in our solar system except Pluto. The Endeavour flight has all the markings of a historic mission. The orbiter is the Challenger's replacement, named by school children. And strapped in next to Barbara Morgan will be Tracy Caldwell, one of those students a generation ago who was both heartbroken and inspired by Krista McCullough and the Challenger crew.
We hope that you'll all take an active interest in this mission and follow along with our progress and take pride and ownership, because this program belongs to you.
An invitation to America to join NASA in putting Challenger to rest and moving on. Kelly Kobiea, CBS News, Miami.
And coming up this morning on the early show, not so sweet dreams, why your pillow could be making you sick. I'm Susan McGinnis. This is the CBS Morning News.
Wake up to the #1 at-home eye lift alternative in America. Avon, a new clinical eye lift. Our improved eye treatment targets lids, bags, even the brow bone. 82% of women saw more wide-awake eye area. Call your Avon representative for a brochure and say hello tomorrow.
Some shrimp. We've seared our tuna. And when you're done, voila! Meow Mix Market Select.
Meow Mix Market Select. With tender, juicy cuts of fresh meats and seafood, it's too good to put in a can.
Tell us where you whiten.
Where do I whiten? Anywhere I want. With these new Listerine Whitening Quick Dissolving Strips. I put them on and look, these babies dissolved on my teeth. There's no mess. Nothing to take off. Hi. You can talk, and all anybody sees are your pearly whites. Get whiter teeth while you do what you need to do. And bad breath? Listerine takes care of those nasty germs. With Listerine Whitening Quick Dissolving Strips, you can whiten where you want.
Great balls of fire! You got the bond, you got the bond, you got the wedding bond. We got the king, we got the queen, we do the discount thing. You got the bond, you got the big red bond. You get the discount price and it feels so nice. Buy at the wedding bond near you.
Lease the all-new, completely redesigned 07 Mitsubishi Outlander ES from only $239 a month at Bill Suttles Mitsubishi in Miami, Northwest 36th Street and 29th Avenue, and Mitsubishi of Navy, 5395 South University Drive.
Shopping online just got easier. Go to CBS4.com and check out our new local classifieds. Type in what you're looking for at the top of the page, and the choice is yours. You can even post your own listings for free. CBS4.com Classifieds has it all.
Netting Barn has the largest selection of the world-famous Tempur-Pedic at the guaranteed lowest discount prices. You gotta feel it to believe it. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
In Florida, Davie, Tamarack, Deerfield Beach, Boynton Beach, and West Palm Beach.
The mystery surrounding one of the most famous kisses of the 20th century may be solved. Texas sailor Glenn McDuffie is one of at least 10 men claiming to be the kisser in this famous Life magazine photo taken on VJ Day in 1945. But forensic artist Lois Gibson says her measurements prove McDuffie's the genuine article.
Your bones, once you reach maturity, they stay the same. The skin just goes south. So the bones in the skull are the same. The hairline, he lost hair. He's older. Give him a break. Of course he did. The ears, the eyebrows, the little wrinkles that are starting here are here too.
Life magazine says at least 3 women claim to be the nurse in the photo. Well, usually when a long-standing baseball record falls, fans unite in their applause. But Barry Bonds isn't any player, and the Marquee Tide is not just any record. Bill Whitaker reports.
Well, he did it. Controversial slugger Barry Bonds hit the ball over the wall at Petco Park in San Diego.
And it is gone!
And into the history books.
Barry Bonds has tied the greatest individual record in American sports.
His 755th career home run, tying the record set by Hank Aaron. Bonds, notoriously close-mouthed, was almost chatty.
This is the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my entire career. It's a different feeling than any of the other ones.
For 8 days, he was frozen at home run 754 after leaving the love of hometown San Francisco for the outright animosity of longtime rival LA and even San Diego, where for many fans, the cloud of suspicion that Bonds used steroids overshadows his accomplishment. Yet, each time he stepped to the plate, a blizzard of camera flashes joined the chorus of booing.
I cheered and I booed, sort of 50-50.
Call it love-hate.
You can't boo and take a picture of the guy at the same. You can't honor him and boo him at the same time.
People on the field, I think they respect the record more than the fans do, because the fans do not have any idea how hard it is to do what he's done.
It was a far cry from the general jubilation that greeted Yankee Alex Rodriguez's 500th home run. At 32, the youngest ball player to reach that milestone, and the player many fans expect, even hope, will one day surpass Bonds. As for Bonds, it's back to San Francisco to try to set the new record where he's truly appreciated.
We don't care what the rest of the country thinks. That's our boy.
It's like saying to my own family, I'm coming home. I'm coming home.
As Commissioner Bud Selig's unenthusiastic reaction to the record-tying home run suggests, Bonds will never be the undisputed king.
Many are applauding, many are booing.
But like it or not, it's almost certain one day soon he will wear the crown. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's the CBS Morning News for this Monday. I'm Susan McGinnis. Have a great day.
For news 24 hours a day, log on to cbsnews.com. CBS News. Experience you can trust.
This week, fungus, bacteria, mold. Germ experts say that's what's hidden in homes, and you won't believe where.
All this stuff is growing in her pillow.
Don't lose sleep. See how to protect yourself. And it's the Early Show's Summer in the City with a live concert by Big and Rich. This week on the Early Show.
From the creator of 2.5 Men, The Big Bang Theory. Mondays this fall on CBS.
Chief Meteorologist David Bernard. Accurate, dependable. CBS 4 weather.
Good morning. I'm George Estevez.
And I'm Yusila Ramirez. Here's a look at the stories we're following this morning. A South Florida father is dead after being shot in broad daylight outside his Hialeah home. Why investigators think it might be a love triangle gone wrong.
Scorching summer temperatures making firefighters' job difficult as they battle a dangerous brush fire that could threaten even more than a dozen homes. And we'll have the latest on your weather as well. There's Lisette Gonzalez. We're going to introduce you to her and get you going this morning.
Stranded in South Florida, travel troubles keep passengers on the ground. What's going wrong with their flights? We have a live report. CBS 4 News this morning starts right now.
Now live, this is CBS 4 News this morning.
All right, it is 4:59 on this Monday morning. Wow, it's early.
I know. Here we go again.
Yes, it's a brand new week. We're going to get you going. Got a lot of stuff going on this week, including a hot start to your week.
That's right. That's right. And Lisette Gonzalez is here with our first